Good day, learners. How are you? In the first quarter, we discussed about what are the modes of reasoning. As I mentioned in the previous lesson, when writing an argumentative essay or persuasive essay, it is important to state the reasons for your argument. Presenting reasons in an essay makes your essay more persuasive. So let's apply what we have learned before by putting it into writing. In this lesson, let's talk about writing a position paper. But the question is, what is a position paper? But before we begin defining what is a position paper, let's keep in mind the following terms first. We have the claim. It means the evidence that writers or speakers use to prove their point. The argument. It is usually a main idea, often called the claim, or thesis statement backed up with evidence that supports the idea. We have the counter-argument, or the opposite of the argument. It is a viewpoint that opposes your main argument. Standard position. It is an attitude towards a particular issue, or a case of opinion taken in an argument. And lastly, the refute. It means to prove that a statement or a theory is wrong or false. Or, refute means to disprove. It is important to know these terms first for you to not get lost or wonder what will be our lesson is all about. These terms are commonly used in writing a position paper, so it is good to know them first. Now, when we say position paper, it is an essay that makes an opinion and make a claim about an issue. Since you make a claim about an issue, your goal in writing a position paper is to convince your audience that your opinion is valid and defensible. Now, also, a position paper is a stand supported by arguments. It is important to support your argument with evidence to ensure the validity of your claims, as well as to refute or the counterclaims, to prove that counterclaims are wrong, or to show you are well informed about both sides. Okay? So, these are the qualities of a convincing position paper. First, contain a clear proposition or a statement that must be defended. Well, you may already have an opinion on your topic, an idea about which side of the argument you want to take. You need to ensure that your position is well supported. Assess conflicting opinions or opposing views on the issue. Take a firm stand on the issue. Now, listing the pro and con sides of the topic will help you examine your abilities to support your counterclaims, along with a list of supporting evidence for both sides. Again, list arguments in an organized manner to defend the stand. And lastly, always present factual evidence or proofs to support argument. So those are the qualities of a convincing position paper. So now your position paper should have the following qualities. Now let's get to know what are the parts of a position paper, or what does it look like. First, we have the introduction. In introduction, you start with a topic sentence that attracts the attention of the readers and summarizes the issue. Next, inform your reader of your point of view. In the introduction, you introduce your topic with a little background information, build up your thesis sentence, which asserts your position. Then, this should be in one paragraph. Okay? That's for the introduction. As for the body, it explains that your position is still the best one, despite the strength or the counter arguments. The body of your position paper should be 3 paragraphs. Now, in the conclusion, it summarizes your argument and restates your position. This should have at least 1 to 2 paragraphs. Since we already know the parts of position paper, let us learn how to develop each part. Now, how do we develop the flow from paragraph to paragraph? First, keep your voice active. Quote sources to establish authority. Stay focused on your point of view throughout the essay. Focus on logical arguments and don't lapse into summary in the development, wait for the conclusion, okay? Also, to have a good flow of paragraph to paragraph, you may use the following transition. These transitions add a certain flow in your paragraph. You may pause this one or this part and read or write this for better understanding. Aside from transitions, you can also use these statements to start or conclude your argument. We have the following. You may pause this one for you to use these statements in the future writing. Now, next is how do you select a topic for your introduction. Topic could be simple or complex, but your argument must be sound and logical. To select a topic, you should do the following. Conduct preliminary research, challenge your own topic, continue to collect supporting evidence, and create an outline. Okay? Now, how to start crafting a well-constructed argument. Now we are on the body of our position paper. First, choose a side on a particular controversial issue. Center around a personal belief that is supported by research, near and dear to your heart. Next, build up a case for your opinion or position. Know the opposite view as well. As you know your own stance when you take a position, know all the possible challenges that you might face as you support your view. You must address the opposing view and chip away at it with counter evidence. And use facts, opinions, statistics, and other forms of evidence to convince your reader that your position is the best one. Find arguments or present arguments for the other side of your position or points in a fair manner, and then state why they are not sound or why their argument is the best one by using facts, opinions, statistics, and other forms of evidence. Now, I also have here the tips for writing a position paper. Many students make the mistake thinking that the content of their paper is always that matters. Although the content is important, it will not mean much if the reader can't understand what you are trying to say. You may have some great ideas in your paper, but you cannot effectively communicate them. So, you will not receive a good mark. Keep the following in mind, the following tips when writing a paper. First, use simple language. There is often a tendency for students to use fancy words and extravagant images in hopes that it will make them sound more intelligent, which in fact the result is confusing mess. Although this approach can sometimes be effective, it is advisable that you choose clear words and be as precise in the expression of your ideas as possible. Next, give each separate idea in its own paragraph. Paragraph is a means of developing and framing an idea or impression. As a general rule, you should only have one major idea per paragraph. Third, make sure each paragraph starts with a topic sentence. The division between paragraphs aren't random, but it indicates a shift in focus. In other words, you must carefully and clearly organize the order of your paragraphs so that they are logically positioned throughout your paper. And to do that, you will use transitions and make sure that each paragraph starts with a topic sentence. And constantly proofread your position paper for mistakes. You must make certain that your paper is free from grammar and spelling mistake. Mechanical errors are usually the main reasons for lack of clarity in essays, so be sure to thoroughly proofread your paper before handing it in. You all know that it's better to proofread than commit mistakes. Cite your sources. We all know that what is plagiarism, right? Now, plagiarism is a form of stealing. As with other offenses against the law, ignorance is no excuse. The way to avoid plagiarism is to always give credit where the credit is due. If you are using someone else's work, change the wording or just summarize the main points, or you better cite your sources. When you write a position paper, let me end this one. Before I end the discussion, let me leave this here. When you write a position paper, write with confidence. Okay? State your opinion with authority. After all, your goal is to demonstrate that your position paper is the correct one. Be assertive but don't be cocky. State your points and back them up with evidence. I am also attaching a sample position paper as part of this lesson, so check it out. So, now you already know what is a position paper, what does it look like, why you should write one, and how to write it. That's all for our lesson. I hope you learned something from me today. This is your teacher, Teacher Jai. Thank you and see you again.